with the agenda as proposed. Plant status update, Mr. Noyes, please.
Okay, plant is currently at 100% power. Since the last meeting, the hostile action-based exercise was completed on April 30th, along with the NRC debrief. There were no findings that were briefed in the NRC's verbal debrief, but they've got 45 days to issue the formal report, and we have not yet received that yet. It was also a FEMA exit that was conducted, and that found no findings. The NRC end of cycle meeting was held on May 1st. We had to the plant, Selectman Provenzano came on the 6th of May for a tour of the plant. Last Tuesday, we made a decision to shut the plant down for a planned maintenance outage. The maintenance outage itself had been in the works for several weeks. We were working with ISO New England and NSTAR to determine the proper window to remove the plant from service, to make some repairs to ensure long-term reliability of the plant through the remainder of the operating cycle. And the plant was restarted and connected to the grid 1709 last night. Thank you. Then just for the information of the Nuclear Matters Committee, there is a website, www.yoursafetymatterspilgrim.com, that has been launched. It has some information on emergency planning for Pilgrim and the surrounding area, and additional information will be added to that website as we go forward. And that ends the report pending any questions.
Yeah. Chuck, did you get the address for the
yoursafetymatters.com?
That's correct.
Your safety matters. Pilgrim.com.
Oh, Pilgrim.
Oh, that's okay.
Matters or matter?
Matters.
Matters.
Mm.
Pilgrim.com.
Exactly.
This
So
is,
if I apologize. I was just going to tack on to a little bit of what Dave mentioned in terms of the website.
okay, and I was just going to ask Mr. Nadler if he captured that for the viewing public.
Thank you. I just wanted to add on to what Dave said. You know, this is all part of Pilgrim's effort to increase transparency and give information to the public. So we know that emergency planning is an issue that people care about. So this website will hopefully provide information to those seeking it from the people.
Is Pilgrim at the beginning or at the end?
At
Is
the
it Pilgrim, your safety?
The end.
Oh, is it the end?
Yeah. YourSafetyMattersPilgrim.com.
Okay, so we all understand the address correctly. Mr. Grassi, now you got to attend a hostile action-based drill, is that correct?
I was in New Orleans.
You were in New Orleans. Okay. It must have been Mr. Ross.
I attended the outbriefing. I got there at 5 past and it was over. It was quick.
The outbriefing
At the
at FEMA.
Colony Place.
At the FEMA's briefing.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Calling. Yeah. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as you said in your opening, or in your report, there was no.
Yeah, that was the one at the Hampton Inn. Right?
What's over there?
Yes. Yeah, yes, it is.
So it was, no, I did not attend. Rich Rustine did, and he had a number of things he wanted to discuss with us as a result of that. And I'm not so sure it was executive session or what. I don't know.
Okay. He had a discussion by himself and Mr. Wallace listed here under old business. We haven't gotten to that yet, but Mr. Wallace, Mr. Rothstein aren't here tonight, so we're gonna have to discuss that next month.
That's good. That's good when we're all here. I think that's beneficial.
All right, that's plant status update from Mr. Noyes. Mr. Rothstein had listed Entergy's current seismic hazard analysis. I don't know if you're prepared to discuss it versus Marky Warren, letter to the
Um,
NRC?
I have seen the letter. I'm not prepared to discuss it in any level of detail. We have been notified by the NRC that we have screened in, along with 17 other plants east of the Mississippi, as a Tier 1 plant for seismic PRA analysis. So we will work our way through that process with the schedule that's been established by the NRC.
Is that to validate the design basis for the plant?
It is actually beyond the existing design basis.
Does it use that as a baseline, or is it just?
There is an interim step that uses the plant's existing.
Sorry, Paul, do you mind if I ask?
No,
I'm sorry.
as long as Mr. Noyes can respond to it.
Yeah, there is an interim step that uses the existing plant's design basis. By December 31st of this year, the plant will be asked to certify all the system structures and components that are necessary to implement the beyond design basis Fukushima strategies. The installed plant systems are qualified to assess whether they are qualified to 2 times the safe shutdown earthquake, which is the plant's design basis. So we're responsible to assess all those system structures and components and report the results of that analysis back to the NRC by the end of the year.
Let's get one more question. Sorry. The critical items that you identified for the design basis and upon which, the design basis was applied back when the plant was built, has that critical elements list changed in any way, great way?
The
Or
components.
it exists, right?
Yeah, the components of the plant have not been analyzed against the ground motion response vector, which is part of the new analysis methodology.
Oh,
So essentially, the original design basis of the plant took what was determined to be the safe shutdown earthquake, which was an earthquake of magnitude, I think, that happened in the 1600s in Cape Ann, which was the largest one that had been experienced in the area, and essentially superimposed that earthquake on the closest known fault line to Plymouth, and established the system structures and components response based on that earthquake. The new ground motion response spectra looked at a large frequency of earthquakes, so a different distance of movement over a period of time. So an earthquake that could occur at a greater distance from Pilgrim may have a different frequency impact on that specific equipment.
I think it's very interesting to note that as a result of what's fracturing that's going on around the country, in the areas where they're fracturing it, the USGS, which is the U.S. Geological Survey, has recorded far more spurious tremors recently, apart from the normal way in which they're distributed, I guess.
I've read that Western Pennsylvania and Eastern
Western
Ohio.
Pennsylvania, Ohio, that's right. That's right. So it's very interesting.
Do you look at cast also? Are you analyzing dry cast along with the spent fuel pool?
I don't know if the analysis includes a cask evaluation or not.
Spent fuel pool?
I'm not sure of the spent fuel pool either. What we can do is we can make an opportunity for a future presentation if the committee wants.
That might be wise.
Really good.
I remember, this is from memory now, back when I was an SRO, okay, and it was a long time ago. But the spent fuel pool was a Class 1 structure. It being a Class 1 structure, it would have had seismic criteria in its design.
Oh, it does. The existing structure of the spent fuel pool is designed to be able to work within the safe shutdown earthquake analysis. The original plant's design basis.
The quick comment.
Please, Jim.
A few years back, in response to something that Ted Boson circulated around on us, I went out to the U.S. Geological Service website, and they had a place where you could key in your zip code and it would come back and tell you what the possibility of a earthquake was so many years out, and I put in 40 years, and I put in the possibility of an earthquake greater than a level 5 was zip. Do you know if they've changed that forecast at all?
I don't know.
Actually, I don't think so, from what I've read, but.
As Rich says, the excitement of the sophistication of the analysis now is not so much the frequency with which it's imparted, but rather the frequency of the excitation within it.
Right.
That's what's new.
So it's the basis.
But certainly something to follow, Mr. Grassi. We'll follow it with interest.
Yeah, great interest. Yep.
Continuing on, old business. As we say, Mr. Wallace and Mr. Rothstein are going to report back on a summary of the hostile action-based drill. Mr. Wallace was also to update us regarding RAD responder, and this is for first responders and for his public safety personnel. Again, he's not with us. That'll have to be put off till next month. A summary of the May 1st, 2014 NRC Pilgrim Annual Safety Performance Review, the public meeting. Rich would certainly have an input into that. Are there any thoughts from the committee members? Jim, you were present for the entire.
Yeah, I was.
I was there too, but
Yeah.
I left early. Seemed to be the early one.
Well, compared to the previous 2 years, I thought it was very well.
Yeah.
I thought Bill Neal handled himself very well. He had appropriate support with some senior technical people with him, and they were able to respond to a lot of the questions with good reasoned answers.
I think that cocktail party idea, I hope, is out the window now.
It would seem so.
The last one we had downtown hall, it was organized more like a cocktail party where the NRC members.
I would not leave early if that was.
Yeah.
No drinks, no one drinks.
So I think in summary, we could say everybody approves of the new forum.
Format.
How about energy? How do they feel about that?
I
You
think,
guys were there in spades. I mean, you know,
Right.
there were a lot of people.
yeah, I think
were
whatever,
there.
I think whatever is of most use to the public, we're fully supportive of. So if this format works better for the people of the town, we're all for it.
Yeah, it's a whole better Q&A process.
Yeah.
So all in all, it's a good format. Continuing, summary of the non-binding ballot referendum. Our normal point of contact with the Plymouth Board of Selectmen is Mr. Mahoney. He can't be here tonight because of personal reasons. But Chuck, you work the polls. You want to report what were the numbers? In generalities, I mean, how much of the voting population turned out? How many voted for what?
I think we just made it over 10%. And on the ballot question in our precinct 11, we had 57 no's and I think 107 yeses on the ballot question. But our precinct had the overwhelming majority of the no's of the whole town.
But
I think less than 100 no's
Yeah.
in the whole town.
1 in 4 people voted no.
1 in 4 people of those, but only 10% of the voting population.
1 in 4 of the people that voted
Right.
no,
So it's,
which is a surprise to me. 600 and some odd votes.
you were surprised at the low turnout, or
No,
surprised at the?
I was surprised at the number of no's.
Or that it wasn't what you would have expected.
No,
Not
I mean, I
high.
thought it was a, kind of a brain dead question. I mean, I would love to speak to those 640 people and find out what went through their mind to put a check mark in the no. Like they don't want, they didn't think that they, moving the spent fuel from the pool to the dry cast should be encouraged. Right? Maybe they didn't like the language or what, I don't know. Does anybody have any information about?
I haven't seen any analysis of the poll results. I mean, one result could be that, you know, with less than 10% or just about 10% of people voting that.
Yeah, but that's normal for that vote, and that's what I was told. That 10% of the people control the town, and, you know, in that kind of a vote, and that's a very low turnout. You know, to me, that ballot, I mean, they can go ahead and tell the zoning, the selectmen to go ahead and pressure energy, but I don't think they're gonna have any effect on it. I think it's a waste of time.
Oh, it was unanimous in Duxbury.
Pardon?
No, that's what I would have expected.
No, it was unanimous in Duxbury.
Right.
Unanimous.
Well, because it was the annual town meeting article,
So only town meeting members voted?
but we don't have town meeting members, it's open.
Okay, but,
And the vote in the article on the same question in years prior, in fact, it's been brought forward 3 times, has been unanimous.
how many people would vote? That's
It all depends how many people were there, you know, whether it was 300, 400, 600, depending on the attendance of town meeting for that particular year. But it was just a difference. That's the only reason I brought it up.
No, and I'm just curious, because I look at the numbers and I try to draw some conclusions personally, but as a committee, I'd have to say that if the people spoke, it wasn't with a loud voice.
1 in 4, I mean, yeah, 1 in 4 is kind of a loud voice, maybe, but not to me.
But if only 10% of the people vote.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right.
And if we look at the selectmen that were chosen and the incumbents that lost, one could draw other conclusions. So,
One could.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
I never thought of that. I don't know if I
One
want to get into that.
no, I
Just
think
strike that from the.
I think our summary would have to be that it's inconclusive, and we
Careful,
don't
Walt.
have anything. No. All right, continuing on.
Craziness.
Senator Markey's proposed legislation regarding spent nuclear fuel storage update. Mr. Grassi, do you have any input on that?
I have the bills here on the 113th Congress. I know Mary is much more familiar with them than I am. But all 3 of them, Senator Markey, Boxer, and
Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Right.
All 3 of them submitted bills, as far as I know, because I have 3 here.
3 separate things.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about 3 separate bills?
Yeah, they're 3 separate bills, they all signed on.
Right. And they're all amending the Atomic Energy Act of 1954 to prohibit certain waivers and exemptions for emergency preparedness and provide for consultation with the state and local governments and the approval of post-shutdown decommissioning reports by the NRC. And also this one is to amend and provide for the expansion of emerging EPZs and the development plans for dry cast storage of spent nuclear fuel and for other purposes. I'll pass these down to you.
Yeah.
So in other words, to tie into expediting transfer of spent fuel from the pool to dry gas, their approach was a carrot and stick. You do that, or you expand emergency planning to 50 miles. So that was the summation of that one.
That's a good summary. How do they stand on Yucca Mountain, and what's their position on that? Because these seem like easy bills.
I think they've accepted the fact that Yucca Mountain is not going to be built. And,
But Yucca Mountain is built.
pardon me?
Yeah,
Yucca Mountain is built.
It is built, but it's not going to be used for
The bills are addressing and recognize, as I deal with Mihal, it is a probably on a daily basis, recognizing the necessity of a two-tier process. On the one hand, you deal with looking for an off-site solution. On the other hand, while that is occurring, you deal with safety issues for on-site storage. The bills that were introduced are dealing with the on-site, which is not to say a lack of interest in finding an off-site, but a recognition, as the Blue Ribbon Commission has recognized, that that is a long way off. Not to be ignored, but you can't say it's going to happen. And I know I'm going to be on a panel, and there will be a public meeting at MIT June 10th on a carry forward on the Blue Ribbon Commission. I can send information on that.
Mary, that would be appreciated. Thank you. Okay, other issues?
Can I ask a question
Please.
before we get into another issue on this issue and a related issue? Is there an item on the agenda? I don't see it. For the discuss about Vermont Yankee, the safe store that was anticipated there, and the fact that Energy has come out and said that by 2020, they'll start in 2017, and 2020 they'll have all the spent fuel in the pools moved to dry cask storage.
Mr. Grassi, yes, I had included that, and I noted on my handwriting is perhaps not the best. Okay, fuel to this if we've had why, the reasons for it.
Okay, I'll wait. I'm sorry.
Okay,
Sorry.
no, and I even had Mr. Grassi as speaking regarding that, as well as Chuck Avey. I was going to ask to
Okay.
input. Continuing on, into new business. The NRC April 24th webinar regarding Pilgrim dry cask storage. Mr. Rothstein wanted to speak about that. I think it'd be appropriate to let it wait till next month. And have Mr. Rothstein's guidance regarding.
Yeah, I got that. And I mean, there wasn't any, according to Rich, and from what I've reviewed, there was nothing unusual or earth-shaking or new.
I listened to it and I didn't hear it.
Right.
Okay, I think we can eliminate that. That's the sum and summary of it.
We all have a copy.
Right, so it was just the sharing of information. The NRC webinar on April 30th regarding new Reg 0654. And this is the emergency planning update. Mr. Wallace was supposed to speak to that issue. He being not here, we'll have to put that off. Widening the EPZ on a state planning basis. This is was Mr. Berger's topic, and he was supposed to draw from information or the experience at Diablo Canyon. In Mr. Berger's absence, that will have to be a wait till next month. Revisiting the discussion of economic implications of early shutdown. I've sent my information to Mr. Mahoney. He hasn't responded to my thoughts on it. Mr. Ady, yourself?
Well, I haven't put anything formal together yet. I'm trying to do a little research on it. There is, at least it isn't readily available, the economic impacts from the plant, but there is some information. I'm really not going to be able to make any kind of a statement on it until I do a little bit more homework. I'll have that ready for the next meeting.
Okay. Thanks to Mr. Grassi. We do have some more information to consider. This was from the early days back in the regulated arena, where interest groups did do economic studies of decommissioning, and they're all